There are moments in our lives when the heart feels heavier than the body it carries. Moments when you wake up and you know your soul is searching for something deeper, something steadier, something that can hold you when nothing else can. And in those moments, Allah sends you a reminder, not through the noise of the world, but through the quiet revelation He placed in His book. There is a surah, one that doesn't just speak to your mind, but breathes strength into your spirit. A surah that reminds you that you are never walking alone, that resilience is born from remembrance, and that healing begins the moment you turn your face back to the one who never left you. Today, I want to take you into that surah to show you how it lifts you, shapes you, and makes your spirit able to stand, able to hope, able to rise again, no matter how many times life has tested you. There comes a point in every believer's life where the heart quietly whispers that it is tired of carrying weight that only Allah truly sees, tired of trying to hold together pieces that the world never knew were breaking, tired of moving forward while the soul feels like it has been standing in the same wounded place for years. And in those moments, Allah, in His endless mercy, does not leave you to navigate that heaviness alone. Instead, He sends you a verse, a chapter, a reminder wrapped in divine light. There is a surah in His book, not merely words on a page, but a spiritual rope that pulls you out from the drowning waters of fear, doubt, and exhaustion. It reminds you that your soul was never meant to collapse under the weight of this world, because it was created by the Lord of the heavens, shaped for strength, carved for resilience, and designed to rise. This surah does more than inspire you. It gives your soul the ability to breathe again. It teaches you that the storms of your life were never signs of abandonment. They were doorways to a deeper connection with the one who can repair what you thought was permanently broken. It teaches you that patience is not an empty waiting, but a powerful trust. It teaches you that even when life feels like it is pulling you apart, Allah is already preparing a way through, a way you could not see, a way you could not imagine. This surah reminds you that your spirit is not fragile, it is not weak, it is not defined by your past, your mistakes, or your wounds. This surah reminds you that your spirit is able because Allah is the one who strengthens it, able because Allah is the one who guides it, able because Allah is the one who never allows darkness to be permanent. And as you begin to reflect on the verses, you realize that every word was written for someone who needed to learn how to stand again. Someone like you. 3 keynotes. Do not expand yet. 1. This surah rebuilds the strength of your spirit by reminding you who is truly in control. 2. It teaches you that every hardship carries a hidden mercy that transforms your inner world. 3. It awakens your heart to the realization that Allah never tests you to break you, but to elevate you. Keynote first expanded into 3,200 words. No headings, no ending sentences, written fully in Yasmin Mogad style tone. When you begin to journey through this surah, you start to feel something inside you shift, almost like a quiet reawakening of a part of your soul that had been sleeping under layers of fear, disappointment, and unspoken worries. This surah rebuilds the strength of your spirit by reminding you who is truly in control. And that reminder is not simply a sentence you memorize. It is a truth your heart needs to experience again and again. Often we live our lives trying to orchestrate every moment, trying to hold all the pieces of our plans in our hands, believing that if we can just manage everything with enough effort or enough strategy, then everything will fall into place exactly the way we want. But life has a way of showing us that our hands were never meant to hold the universe together, because the universe was never ours to hold. This surah teaches you gently, without force and without fear, that the one who holds the heavens and the earth is the same one who holds your story, your struggles, your healing, and your destiny. And when that understanding settles into your heart, the weight you have been carrying begins to loosen. There are moments in life when you feel like you are standing in front of doors that just will not open. No matter how much you knock, no matter how long you wait, no matter how hard you try to push them. And in those moments, you start to believe that maybe something is wrong with you, maybe you are not deserving, maybe your voice is too small to be heard by the world. And maybe your dreams were meant for someone stronger, someone more capable. But this surah whispers to you that closed doors are not rejections, they are protections. They are not signs of your inadequacy. They are signs that Allah, in His wisdom, is redirecting you towards something better, something more aligned with who you are meant to become. This understanding rebuilds your spirit because it shifts your focus away from your perceived failures and toward the reality that Allah's knowledge encompasses what you cannot see. When you feel overwhelmed by the uncertainty of life, this surah becomes a grounding place for your heart. There is a verse within it that feels like a hand placed gently upon your chest, calming the storms inside you, assuring you that control was never your burden. You realize that you were exhausting yourself trying to carry responsibilities that were never written for you. You were trying to predict outcomes that only Allah can determine, trying to fix things that were meant to unfold in their own divine timing. This surah becomes a reminder that your role is not to control. Your role is to trust, to act with sincerity, and to surrender with peace. And when your heart begins to surrender, not out of defeat, but out of recognition of Allah's ultimate authority, you discover a strength that was always meant to be yours. This surah also speaks to the fear that often hides beneath the surface of our decisions, the fear of losing what we love, the fear of not being enough, the fear of change, the fear of the unknown. Fear that quietly shapes your choices, narrowing your world, dimming your vision, holding your potential hostage. But when you remember who controls all things, your fear begins to dissolve because you understand that nothing can reach you unless Allah allows it, nothing can harm you unless He permits it, and nothing can slip away from your life unless it was never meant to remain. This gives your spirit the courage to step forward, even when the path is unclear, because you know that the one guiding you does not make mistakes. Sometimes the greatest wounds are the ones no one sees. They are the silent battles you fight late at night when everyone else has gone to sleep, the quiet tears you hide behind a strong face, the questions you ask yourself in the spaces where only Allah can hear. This surah becomes a companion in those hidden battles. It tells you that Allah knows the heaviness you carry even when the world does not. He knows the prayers you whisper, even when your voice trembles. He knows the dreams you hide in the depths of your heart, even when you are afraid to speak them aloud. This surah rebuilds your spirit because it reassures you that you are never unseen, never unheard, never abandoned. Every emotion, every wound, every longing is known by the one who created you, and knowing that brings a profound sense of safety to your soul. When you face challenges that seem far larger than your strength, this surah teaches you that Allah's control means you never face those challenges alone. He is with you in the tension, in the pressure, in the confusion, and in the waiting. He is with you when you feel like your life is unraveling, when your plans fall apart, when the things you relied on crumble beneath your feet. And instead of letting those moments break you, He uses them to rebuild you, to soften your heart, to draw you closer, and to remind you that your power was never meant to come from the world, it was meant to come from Him. And when strength comes from Allah, it becomes unshakable. This surah also teaches you that trust is not passive. It is one of the most powerful forms of spiritual strength. Trusting Allah does not mean you stop trying. It means you try without fear, without desperation, without attachment to outcomes, because you understand that whatever unfolds is held within divine wisdom. This kind of trust frees you from the prison of constant worry. It frees you from the burden of trying to anticipate every possible difficulty. It frees you from the fear that your life will fall apart if things do not go exactly according to your plans. Trusting Allah means you move through life with a heart that is grounded, centered, and at peace, because you know that the one in control is the one who loves you more than you could ever comprehend. As you continue reflecting on this surah, you begin to see that the strength it gives you is not loud, not forceful, not the kind of strength the world glorifies. It is quiet, steady, deeply rooted strength. It is the strength of someone who knows that Allah is guiding every step, someone who can face uncertainty without collapsing, someone who can rise from hardship without losing hope. This is the kind of strength that carries you through loss, through disappointment, through heartbreak, through change. It is the kind of strength that carries you through seasons of silence, seasons of waiting, seasons of confusion. And it is the kind of strength that makes your spirit able, not because you are powerful on your own, but because you are connected to the one who is. When you take this surah into your heart, you begin to breathe differently. You begin to speak differently. You begin to move differently. You begin to see life not as a series of random events, but as a carefully woven tapestry, each thread placed with intention, each moment carrying purpose. You start to understand that the challenges you faced were not punishments, but invitations. Invitations to rediscover your reliance on Allah. Invitations to cleanse your heart. Invitations to grow. And in that understanding, you find a strength that is far deeper than anything the world can offer. This surah rebuilds your spirit by teaching you that your story is not defined by what you lost, but by how Allah is shaping you through every loss. It teaches you that your worth is not determined by outward success, but by the sincerity of your heart. It teaches you that your journey is not a straight line, but a series of divine redirections meant to guide you toward what is truly good for you. And the more you immerse yourself in these truths, the more your spirit begins to rise again, even when life feels overwhelming, even when your prayers delayed. Even when the answers you seek do not come immediately, the knowledge that Allah is in control becomes your anchor. It becomes the place your heart returns to every time doubt creeps in, every time fear steals your breath, every time sadness weighs on your shoulders. And the more you return to that anchor, the stronger you become, not because life becomes easier, but because your heart learns to rely on a strength that does not fade. This surah becomes a mirror that reflects who you truly are. Someone created by Allah, guided by Allah, strengthened by Allah, and carried by Allah. Someone whose spirit is capable of rising above any hardship. Someone whose soul is far stronger than they ever realized. Someone who can walk through darkness with light in their heart because they know that the one who controls the universe is guiding their steps. And in that truth, your spirit becomes able. When you sit with this surah long enough, when you allow its words to settle into the quiet spaces of your heart, you begin to realize that hardship is not the enemy you once believed it to be. You start to uncover something sacred hidden beneath every difficulty, something you may have overlooked in the moments when pain felt too heavy to understand. This surah teaches you that every hardship carries a hidden mercy that transforms your inner world, and this truth does not land in your heart all at once. It unfolds slowly, like dawn breaking after a long night, revealing more and more light as your heart becomes ready to see it. So many of us walk through life believing that the moments of pressure, confusion, and loss are signs that we have been abandoned or forgotten, that we are being punished or pushed away. But this surah shows you that hardship is often a doorway, not a dead end, and that the mercy within it is sometimes wrapped so carefully that you only recognize it when you look back and realize it was carrying you when you thought you were falling apart. There is a quiet beauty in discovering that Allah allows hardship not to break you, but to reshape you. And this surah brings that understanding to life by aligning your heart with His wisdom. It teaches you that sometimes the path toward what is good for you feels like the opposite of ease, that sometimes the lessons you need most come dressed as challenges you never wanted to face. But those challenges soften a heart that has grown hardened, deepen a soul that has grown shallow, and awaken a spirit that has grown distant. Hardship, through the lens of this surah, becomes a teacher, a purifier, and a gentle reminder that Allah is guiding you with more care than you have ever given yourself. When you think about the moments that have shaped who you are, you may realize that the deepest wisdom, the greatest clarity, and the most transformative strength did not come from seasons of comfort. They came from the nights you cried, the prayers you whispered with trembling hands, the times when you felt lost and desperately needed direction. It was in those moments that you learned how to rely on Allah instead of relying on your own limited understanding. It was through those difficulties that you learned patience, trust, humility, and sincerity. And this surah reminds you that none of those experiences were accidental. They were placed in your life with perfect precision, crafted to bring you closer to Allah and to the person you were meant to become. This surah teaches you that hardship is not darkness. It is a veil that often hides a deeper light. When life feels heavy, when your heart feels tired, when your plans collapse in front of you, it is easy to believe that everything is falling apart. But the surah gently reminds you that sometimes things fall apart so better things can fall into place. That sometimes what you lose is the very thing that was blocking your path. And that sometimes Allah removes something from your life not to hurt you but to heal you. It teaches you that every hardship comes with a hidden mercy, even if that mercy is not visible immediately. It may arrive later, it may unfold quietly, but it is always there, waiting to be seen when your heart is ready. One of the most powerful lessons this surah offers is that hardship is a means through which Allah elevates your soul. Elevation does not come from ease, it comes from growth, and growth often requires discomfort, just as a seed must break open in the darkness of soil before it can rise toward the light. Your soul sometimes breaks in order to expand. And this surah teaches you that when Allah allows your heart to crack, it is only so that something more beautiful can take root within you. The breaking is not destruction, it is transformation. It is a doorway to sincerity, to humility, to surrender, to trust, to a deeper connection with the one who created you. This surah also teaches you that mercy is not always the removal of hardship. Sometimes mercy is found within the hardship itself. Mercy can be the strength Allah gives you to endure, the clarity He grants you through pain, the patience He nurtures within you, the softness He restores in your heart, or the connection He rekindles between you and Him. Sometimes mercy is the realization that what you once begged for was not good for you, and the hardship you experienced saved you from something unseen. Sometimes mercy is the lesson that you could not have learned any other way, and sometimes mercy is simply the presence of Allah's comfort in the very moment you thought you were alone. This surah reminds you that mercy is not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it is quiet, hidden, and subtle, waiting for you to notice its gentle touch. In many moments of life, we assume that hardship is a punishment, but this surah flips that narrative entirely. It teaches you that hardship can be a sign of Allah's love, a sign that He cares enough about your heart to refine it, a sign that He wants to strengthen your relationship with Him. When Allah loves you, He does not allow your heart to remain attached to things that harm you, distract you, or distance you from Him. So sometimes He allows hardship to separate you from what you think you need, only to replace it with something far greater than what you ever imagined. This surah helps you see that what feels like loss may actually be protection, and what feels like struggle may actually be preparation for blessings that require a stronger, wiser, more spiritually grounded version of you. Hardship also humbles you, reminding you that strength does not come from your own abilities, decisions, or control. It comes from Allah. When life is easy, it is easy to forget this. It is easy to believe that you are managing everything on your own, that your efforts are the reason for your success, that your plans are unfolding because of your intelligence or your strategies. But hardship strips away that illusion and reveals the truth. Everything you have, everything you achieve, everything you endure comes through Allah's permission and guidance. This surah teaches you to find peace in that understanding, because knowing that Allah is the one directing your life removes the burden of trying to control everything yourself. This surah also reminds you that hardship softens the heart in a way nothing else can. When you experience pain, when you feel broken, when you reach a point where you have no one to turn to but Allah, your heart becomes more open, more receptive, more aware of its dependence on Him. Hardship tears down the walls of pride and self-reliance that often build up unnoticed within you. It breaks the hard shell that forms around your heart over time, allowing compassion, kindness, humility, and gratitude to flow more freely. And through this softening, Allah brings you closer to Him. The surah teaches you that a soft heart is a powerful heart, because it is a heart connected to its Creator. Another hidden mercy in hardship is the way it shifts your priorities. It clears away the unnecessary, the superficial, the distractions that occupy your mind and drain your energy. Hardship forces you to reevaluate what truly matters in your life, revealing what is temporary and what is eternal. It teaches you to focus on your relationship with Allah, on your character, on your inner peace, and your purpose, and on the things that nourish your soul. It teaches you that the things you once chased may not have been worth chasing, and the things you once ignored may hold the greatest value. This surah helps you understand that hardship is often the beginning of realignment, a return to what your heart was created for. It also teaches you that hardship reveals who you are. When everything is going well, it is easy to maintain calmness, patience, kindness, and faith. But hardship exposes the true state of your heart. It shows you where you need to grow, where you need to strengthen your trust, where you need to deepen your faith, and where you need to let go of expectations or attachments. Instead of viewing hardship as a failure, this surah encourages you to view it as a mirror showing you the parts of your soul that need attention, care, and healing. It shows you the areas where you have not yet surrendered fully to Allah, and the areas where you rely too heavily on the world instead of relying on Him. One of the most comforting truths this surah teaches is that Allah never burdens you with a hardship that does not come with its own mercy. There is always something within it meant for your growth, your elevation, your purification, or your protection. Even when the hardship feels unbearable, even when it leaves you questioning your strength, even when you cannot understand its purpose, the mercy is still there. Sometimes it is hidden in the timing of things, sometimes in the lessons, sometimes in the people Allah removes or brings into your life, sometimes in the doors He closes, and sometimes in the path He opens after the hardship passes. The surah reminds you that Allah is always working for your good, even when you do not see it. As you continue reflecting on this surah, you realize that hardship reconnects you with prayer in a deeper, more sincere way. When life feels overwhelming, your heart naturally turns toward the one who can comfort it. Hardship pushes you to speak to Allah, not out of routine, but out of true need. It makes your du'as more heartfelt, your prayers more intentional, your connection more real. Hardship teaches you that prayer is not just something you do, it is a lifeline. And in turning back to Allah through prayer, you begin to feel the mercy that was hidden within your difficulty all along. This surah also teaches you that hardship builds resilience, not the kind of resilience the world speaks about, which often celebrates self-reliance and independence, but a spiritual resilience rooted in trust, patience, and surrender. When you endure a hardship with faith, you emerge from it stronger, wiser, more grounded, and more capable of facing the uncertainties of life. You learn that your strength does not come from avoiding challenges, but from trusting Allah through them. This resilience becomes part of your identity, shaping the way you walk through life and the way you respond to future difficulties. And this surah shows you that every hardship you endure is building that strength within you. Hardship also opens the heart to gratitude in ways ease never could. When life is smooth, you may overlook blessings, assuming they will always be there. But when hardship enters your life, it sharpens your awareness of the small mercies you once took for granted. A peaceful moment, a kind word, a breath of relief, a prayer answered in silence. These small blessings become monumental sources of comfort. Through hardship, you learn to appreciate the simple gifts Allah places in your life every day. And gratitude becomes a source of healing, filling your heart with warmth even in the midst of pain. This surah teaches you that hardship is also a way Allah brings you closer to people who genuinely care. During ease, you may not notice who is truly by your side. But in hardship, masks fall away, superficial relationships fade, and the sincerity of others becomes clear. This too is a hidden mercy, Allah revealing who is good for your heart and who is not, who supports you and who drains you, who deserves a place in your journey and who does not. Hardship strengthens the bonds that are real and releases you from the ones that were never meant to last. and perhaps one of the greatest hidden mercies of hardship is the way it deepens your connection with the Quran. When your heart is in pain, the words of Allah speak to you differently. Verses that you once read without emotion suddenly feel like they were written specifically for you. You begin to experience the Quran not just as text, but as healing, as guidance, as comfort. This surah becomes a personal companion, a presence that walks with you through